Hi guys, it's Ian here. This is the tutorial update that I promised you guys. I'm going to use the example for the geoprocessing and exporting tutorial, and what we're doing here is we're doing the same tutorial, but in this instance we're going to be doing it for QGIS 2.18, which a couple of the students had during the workshop. So this is the upgraded version for that particular tutorial. So yeah, let's get started. In this tutorial we've got a fictitious an example of a project where we need to create the buffers for the fire breaks, and this will enable us to use a couple of geoprocessing tools and other options. One of the tasks we need to do, well, these are the tasks here. We need to import a CSV, buffer, clip and merge, and this basically gives you an introduction into the types of geoprocessing tools that you might use, and in this instance why you might set out and use them in the particular order that you use them. So yeah, an introduction into the geoprocessing tools of QGIS. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is open an existing project. So from your menu bar, select the open folder and navigate to the GIS folder, Tutorials, Module 2, Geoprocessing, and then go to the Projects folder, and in that folder we're going to open the one called Geoprocessing Las Palamas. Select it and click Open. There we go. A project that's set up already opens up, and this is the one we're going to work with. Right, so our first task is to add features from a CSV file with XY coordinates. The file we will use contains data from farm features captured in the fields using a GPS and exported to a CSV format. So we'll click on the Add Delimited Text Layer button and click on that now, and then we need to navigate or browse to the farm features CSV, which once again is in GIS Tutorials, Module 2, Geoprocessing Spatial and Table. Select it and click Open. And then it should open, depending on what your selected CSV features were for a previous file. In this instance everything looks good. The geometry definition should be point coordinates. The X field is going to be X coordinates, and the Y field must be Y coordinates. And if your table or your dummy data or an example of what your data looks like adds or looks like it's going to add in separate fields like this, then you know that things are going to be added correctly. So we're going to click OK. We're happy with that. Now it wants to ask us of the projection, and the projection is for this particular CSV file is WGS84. So we're going to navigate to it now. If it's in a previous coordinate system that you've used, you can select it. Otherwise you might need to go and find it in your geographic coordinate system. So what you can do there is maximize geographic coordinate system and just scroll down to the W's. We need to minimize that too. Let's go up here a little bit. Here it is, WGS84. Select that and click OK. Right, and there we see it. A new layer is added to our table of contents and our map view, sometimes referred to as an event theme. All it is a link through to that text file, and it's reading the coordinates from the XY fields that we allocated or told it to use. Right, so let's have a look at the attribute table for this new layer. If we right click on the layer in the table of contents and select Open Attribute Table, and we'll see the fields for this particular table with the name of the farm feature, break, which is the distance we're going to use for the fire break buffers, and then those two X and Y coordinate values. So this is the numeric value we're going to use. This field is the one we're going to buffer with. Right, so in the next few steps we're going to be using the tools which are geoprocessing and data management tools, and they can be located under the vector drop down or the vector menu. So under the vector menu we select that. These are the tools we're going to use: geoprocessing tools, We might use geometry tools at some point, and then data management tools as well. So there is quite a wide range of tools here. We're not going to use all of them. We're just going to use a few just to give you an idea of how you might use them in a project going forward. So what we're going to do is, for now, we're just going to ignore the layer we just added, which were the farm features, and we want to buffer the farm boundary for our land parcel. Now this farm boundary exists as a polygon at the moment. If we buffered the polygon, it would only buffer outside of the polygon. So what we need to do is first convert this polygon into a line and then buffer the line. So by buffering the line, what it will do is it'll buffer left and right of the line, and then we're going to exclude the buffer outside the line and just use the buffer inside the line. Okay, so to be clear, the reason we're buffering a line is because we only need the fire break for inside the property. We're only going to buffer inside the property because we're not going to be calculating the fire break for our neighbor's property, only ours. So although we're going to be buffering in the next few steps, the first thing we need to do is just convert our portion that we want to buffer from a polygon into a polyline. So we're going to do that using the vector menu and geometry tools. Then move down to polygons to lines, select it, and that'll open this window, and we're going to buffer or use the we're converting this to polygon to line, so we use the input layer as break zone, and then we want to leave this lines from polygons as a temporary layer, so we're not going to go and store it as a new shapefile. And then we're going to click run, and the CRS needs to be the same as our project, so we're going to choose TM19WGS84. This CRS would have been created in previous tutorials, so if you don't have this, I think you just need to go back to the tutorial where we created it and recreate this coordinate reference system. But most of you should have this if you haven't changed your anything about your QGIS installation since the December tutorial. So we're going to select TM19WGS84 and then click OK, and then a new layer is added to our table of contents and to our project. If we turn off a couple layers, you'll see it. It's this purple one. Let's just thicken that up so you can see it. Maybe just make it a different, like a brighter pink, and you should be able to see it. Line with one. Let's apply. Okay. There we go. So this is lines from polygons. It's a temporary layer, and that's the layer we're going to use. We're going to buffer this layer. Alright, so let's buffer that now. We're only buffering the northern portion of this property, so if we select the selection or select features button, and then with the new layer highlighted in our table of contents, we drag the box over to select it, and you'll see that it gets highlighted or colored in yellow. If you pan down, you'll notice that it's only the northern boundary that's selected. It's gone yellow, whereas the other lines are excluded, they remain pink. So it's just this section that's going to be buffered in this instance. Right, so from our vector menu again, we're going to select the geoprocessing tools, and we want to use, which one is it? It is fixed buffer distance, and we need to make sure that the input layer is our newly added layer, which is lines from polygons. The distance we're going to make 30. That is going to be our fire break distance of 30 meters, and we're going to create another temporary layer. Click run, and once again we'll choose the coordinate reference system as TM19WGS84. Click OK, There we go. You see a new layer has been added, and it's a 30 meter buffer. If we drag our lines to be above our new buffer, you'll see that it sits in the middle of the buffer. So 30 meters on either side of our line has been buffered. So the full width of this new buffer should actually be 60 meters, because it's 30 one side and 30 the other side. So if we just quickly have a look at that, where's our little measuring tool? Let's grab that. Where's this tool? I'll drag it across so you can see it. If we do a quick little measurement, there we go, 60 meters. So that's fine, it's done what we thought it would, but it's not going to be useful going forward, so we need to somehow exclude this outer boundary, and we'll do that in the next step.